What is going on, all you lovely ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael Hora, and this is a lovely penguin. And this is actually part 2. We are talking about the set dressing from the Coldplay and BTS song, My Universe. So if you didn't watch the reaction to the music video and the documentary, go back and watch that first. And then come back here, and we're going to break down those sets. So you can just see kind of the cool little things that they do. There's not that much set dressing, so this probably won't be a super long video. But they do a lot of really cool things. They blend the sets with the animation so well that, honestly, there's certain points where it looks like the whole thing's animated, but I'm pretty sure it's not. So let's start right on in. So before we actually get into the breakdown of this video, I had a really awesome question in the comments on our last BTS video, which technically was Suga, but, you know, whatever. But it was from AG, and he or she asked, how does set dressing change when you're on location versus in a studio? And where is the line drawn between set dressing and props? Really awesome question. Very, very cool. So, first off, location-wise, when you are filming on a location, you are very restricted by the location's rules and regulations that they have on their sets. So, take for example, I worked on a short film where we needed to add a doorway into a door, into like just an opening in this house, and we weren't allowed to drill into the wood of the house. Like, even if we were going to patch it and repaint it or whatever, they weren't going to let us do that. So we had to build up a rig in order to wedge this door frame that we made into the space without damaging the ceiling or the floor, and then have the door be inside of that and be able to swing open and hold. And that causes so many problems. It made an easy build like 10 times harder to do. So in terms of actually being on a set versus on a studio, if I was at a studio, I would just build a flat. I would put the door into the wall right where I needed it to be. I'd have full control over how I was going to build everything as well. And then realistically, it's like we can make this thing look however we want it to look. Take, for example, in the song Fake Love. Yeah, Fake Love. That's the one where they have the water come rushing in. The other one where they also have fire blowing up in that room. If you're on a location, you can't have water pouring in because it's going to destroy everything. On a set, or excuse me, at a studio, you have the opportunity to build a area that will be able to hold water and to not lose it all, and you'll be able to clean it up easier and quicker as well. And then on top of it too, a lot of times different studios already have walls built. We call them flats in the industry, but they'll have flats all set up. Some will have windows, some will have doors, some will be different lengths, different heights, whatever. And you can just take those, repaint them, and retouch them and make them however you want them to be in order to make whatever you're filming. So in terms of that, however, the easier side of filming on a location is that when you're filming at a location, you don't actually usually you don't have to build that much. So you really just have to dress the scene the way the video is supposed to be. So if it's a movie, you need to dress it the way it should look. So a lot of the times they'll rent out houses or something for like periodic pieces or whatever they're called, or period pieces. So they'll have to take all the modern stuff out, which is what the art department would do, and then we would put in our own props that would match the time period that we're going for in there. You know what I mean? So both have their ups and downs, but it's definitely different. So like in Suga's rap music, Ditch Wa, when they're filming on the location there, everything that they needed was already set up. It's already there. I'm sure they had a few different things that they needed to bring in order to get the exact look that they wanted to, but they didn't actually have to build anything, you know? So I know that they brought the car in, and I think they had like a problem with the car or whatever, and then they got the car they ended up shooting with, which is great, which is fun and awesome. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, that's how it would work. But if like you wanted to say you wanted to run like a big fiery explosion inside of the temple area of that music video, I'm almost positive location would not be cool with that. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there's some ups and downs of both, right? Now, in terms of props versus set dressing, they kind of go hand in hand together. So technically, anything that we bring and we put onto the set that is going to be placed, is all of it is technically props. You go to different prop houses, even furniture. You go to a different prop house, you go pick it up, you rent it, and then you bring it back when you're done shooting with it. You put it into its spot or whatever. So most of the time, the things that will end up being in a scene, but they're not really moving, we'll call that set dressing, right? That's the set dressing for the scene. That's where everything is. It's where everything goes. The props that are going to be used, those we'll typically call hand props because they're going to be moving, they're going to be messed with or whatever. So on certain films and certain music videos, they'll actually have a prop master, and that person will typically be dealing with all the hand prop stuff. So, because a lot of the times those things can be really expensive, especially a lot of things use cell phones as one, where you actually rent out a cell phone and you use it for it. Sometimes there'll be prop guns, there'll be prop swords, there'll be prop any sort of weapons, there'll be prop tools, there'll be prop cups and mugs and all that different stuff that you could possibly think that somebody might be holding at some point during a video. And those would all be technically hand props. So it's weird because props are quite literally everything that we add to the set, right? Anything that the art department brings and puts onto the set is a prop. However, some of it will be sitting there and be stationary and not move, and then there'll be the other ones that will be moving and will be used via the hands. First shot right here, we get to see the inside of this spaceship that is blasting out the music of BTS and Coldplay into the universe, and it is being hunted down by the what are they called? The silencers, I think. I already forgot the name of the woman inside. It's DJ something. But, you know, this set is actually a pretty awesome build. Right off the bat, you can just tell it's a lot of knobs, it's a lot of buttons, which are pretty easy to come by when it comes to music videos. So right here, it looks like they basically just got like a DJ's booth setup. Probably took out where the tracks would be, I guess. I don't know DJ setups all that well, but they would take those out and then they put in what honestly they look like they could be like drum heads, but they also just could just be round plastic pieces that they just shine some lights through, and then they add in the 3D effect of the bands being on each one. But if you look at the rest of the spaceship, like, it's all practical for the most part. Like, all these different little rings, they're all practical. At first, honestly, I thought she was animated into the video, but it's just the makeup is so well done that she just looks out of this world, if you would. But for the most part, yeah, it's really simple. It's a lot of tubing, and it's a lot of different colored neon lights. It's, like I said in past videos, it's not super hard to do, per se. But it's definitely something that makes it look really cool. You know, it adds this this effect, this flair to the video that you're just not going to get when you animate it in. So these lights, like, they're just on just regular pieces of wood, probably hooked up to these different attachments. They just did anything to make it look like out of this world. Again, they have a bunch of different monitors and stuff. And to be honest with you guys, these monitors, most likely when they're filming it, just blank. Or they might even have green screens on them, and then they just animate stuff onto it. It's a lot easier to do that than to actually have to program in everything. So most sets will do just screens that they can animate stuff onto it in post, because then they'll know exactly what they need. But most of this stuff is all rentable. You can rent keyboards, you can rent these kind of things, these buttons, levers, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of different sci-fi films and stuff that have used different setups like this too, where you can just kind of rent them and then paint them and like kind of customize them to fit the aesthetic that you're going for, which is pretty dope, to be honest. It's really cool. And the way that they blend the special effects in this area, the spaceship alone, with the practical props and set dressing is incredible. It's so well done. It's so well done. For this shot, where it's Coldplay playing on this, like, it looks like it would be possibly a residential area, or possibly even some sort of like mall area that's been abandoned for a very long time, all graffitied up and whatnot. It looks like it's probably half special effects, half practical. Like, my guess would be most of the stuff that's above the wall here is most likely added in. I'm thinking this building on the left side might physically actually be there, but it's kind of hard to tell, to be honest. And they don't really show that in the documentary, because it's just really all about the recording. It wasn't so much about the music video. But there are some places in the world where you can go and they literally have just been graffitied and spray painted and tagged up like this, to the point where you don't really have to do that much set dressing. You can see they have this little radio back here. This is definitely added in as a prop. Something that looked like it was just kind of shabbily built together in order to be able to pass on their music and connect with the mothership, if you would. Which is pretty great little touches to the video, you know? Yeah, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell when I'm looking at it. Here's another angle of everything. But it looks like all this would be practical. Oh, and then also it looks like the vines or whatever these would be. I'm assuming they'd be vines. They were most likely added in. Again, something that's not all that difficult to make. You can go to Home Depot and get all sorts of different tubings and such, and then just kind of plaster them with different, like, you could do like paper mache, or you could even use different types of tapes and stuff. You could spray foam on them or whatever, and then spray paint them to be the right color that you want, and then just kind of tangle them and weave them up, make these cool roots. I will say, this video is very hard to tell what's real and what's not. We're gonna be honest. Like, honestly, I'm pretty sure, like I said, this wall's definitely real, but I'm feeling less positive about the background as we're going. Or I'm like, I don't know. I also love the fact that they have the CGI, like, holograms of the boys there, and then vice versa when they go to the different planets. It just is another way of, like, yeah, we might not physically be together, but we are still one, you know, we're still a team, we're still a family coming together to be part of this whole thing, of our universe, if you would. And then I think for the BTS boys, their set location is just mainly flooring. Not the hardest thing. For the most part, all the background stuff is definitely animated in, and the flooring is just probably different mats. It looks like they could potentially be like kitchen mat type material, like that rubbery mats that have holes in it, just kind of cut to different pieces and different shapes and then painted, just to make a nice floor that looks kind of like a metal grate underneath them, because it looks like they're on some sort of like oil rig or something like that. Again, very cool, but yeah, it's just hard to break down because it's animated. I really like this shot as well. Like I was saying, they really know how to blend the practical with the animated, to the point where it genuinely feels like there's a bunch of people here, but honestly, I think there's actually 4 people there, and the rest of the stuff is animated in. The background is animated, and I'm pretty sure it's just these guys, probably on a green screen, on a green stage, if you would, where the flooring's even green screened in. But there's not really that many great stills of that area because they jump around a lot. But you can kind of see who are the real people and who aren't the real people in the video as well. But still, realistically, like I've said in the past, simple is good. It's not a bad thing. It makes for great videos, you know? And same thing goes for animation. If you do it well and you do it right, then a video can come out beautiful. It can also have the exact opposite effect sometimes too, where it just looks so unrealistic that you can't get into the video. But for the most part, it looks pretty realistic. Actually, these platforms, they're real. Wondering, what are these? They look like they could be like the tops of garbage cans and just like cut or something like that to make it look like little platforms. And then they could also be doing a perspective trick where they're close to the camera, but they look like they're seated further back as well, so they look bigger. That is another possibility of things. And then these guys are animated on. And it's great, too, because it's like they look so realistic compared to the hologram people as well. I don't think there's any other set pieces. So, yeah, they didn't actually have a full-on green screen here. Like, the flooring is all real. Because, like I said, they have those two canisters. They also have, like, some instruments in the back here as well. Which, pretty cool. As a set dresser, wouldn't be that much work, to be honest. More or less an easier video. I think they probably did this mainly because the video came out like mid-pandemic, so it's a little harder to get people to work and harder to get everybody cleared to work and all that kind of stuff. So they probably were trying to go a little bit lighter and do things as spread out and safely as they could. That would be my guess behind it. But regardless, it made for such a beautiful video. Yeah, and that's it. There's not really much else from the videos that we really need. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you enjoyed this, please, please, please give me a sub, give me a shout out, give me a like, and share it with somebody who might be interested in this stuff as well. I think it's really cool that we got a little bit of a niche here with the set dressing stuff, which is really awesome. It's definitely cool to actually share something I'm like interested in and I know about. So by all means, if you guys have questions or anything like that, feel free to put them in there. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If I can put them in a video, I'll put them in a video. Who knows? I already got AG's permission to put that question in. So yeah, this would be pretty cool. So guys, I love you. Stay aggressively positive. Have a great week. And we will see you on Sunday. Goodbye.